Welcome to Marketing Monday. It is so awesome to see you all here on this bright and shiny Monday, the 12th of July. I am coming to you from a different location. If you watch Marketing Monday, usually you will note that normally I am not in this background, but I did not want to not come to you with Marketing Monday. So I decided to get it together and make sure that we could still do Marketing Monday, even though I am in traveling right now as you watch this. So I wanted to use my travel experience that I'm having right now. I had a really great conversation this morning, and it made me think a lot about what we do as entrepreneurs and how we manage our relationships with our customers, how well we know our customers, and all that good stuff. And so let's talk about it. This will be probably a relatively short Marketing Monday, but first things first, it is amazing, no matter how many years you're in business, how your customers will surprise you. And if you are brand new in business, then your customers are probably always surprising you, just constantly. Everything is a surprise. Like, why are they doing that? And because it's so surprising, the question is, how do you learn more about your customers so that you can not just better serve them, but better be equipped to not have a lot of surprises when you're in business? How can you keep that to a minimum? And especially when it comes to like marketing, of course, I think marketing applies to everything because it does, but also because there are ways to avoid some of the nastier surprises and like the things that you just don't know that you don't know about your customer. And as I was discussing this morning, the one thing I thought about was the fact that you can use advertising as a way to learn about your customer and quickly. So if you are brand new in business, or maybe you are in business for a while, but you've never used Google Analytics to track the customer interactions on your website. And so you're at the point where you don't really have a lot of data about your customer, what they're doing. You don't know who they are so well and all that good stuff. Well, there are ways to find things out. And so if you don't have all that information from Google Analytics, one of the things that you should think about doing is maybe running some lower budget ads. And when I say low budget, I mean low budget. Like, we want to not spend a ton of money on this, but run some advertising for brand awareness. Now, when I say run advertising for brand awareness, you might be like, Belinda, you tell us never to do that. I am still telling you, don't do that. But what I'm saying is, don't do it without knowing why you're doing it. So these ads that you might run for brand awareness could be the kind of ads where you're running them in order to learn about the audience, in order to collect data. And so you might run them over the course of like a week or two. And during that time frame, while you're running those ads, you're essentially collecting data on the types of people who click on your ads, on the types of people who are interested in what you're selling. And that will give you a lot of information about them. Now, the reason why I suggest Google ads instead of like Facebook ads or any other type of ad type is that one of the benefits of Google ads is all of the data that you get. So when you run Google ads, you get an entire data dashboard of like all of the information. You don't get like, Rebecca Smith in Portsmouth, like clicked on your ad. You don't get anything that serious, but you do get a much better idea of like who the shoppers are, what they need, what their like actual demographic breakdown is. You might be thinking that you're serving women between the ages of 22 and 45. And then you find out in reality, you're serving women between the ages of 19 and 27. So you may just be off a little bit about what you think demographically, or it may be a much more even split. You might be thinking that you're like 75% female audience, and you really have more of a 50-50 or 60-40 split. And so having an idea of what that like looks like is something that you can actually get through advertising. And it doesn't have to be complicated. This would be a real ad. So you would still run it like a real ad. It's not, nothing about the advertising is fake. So you could indeed actually gain brand awareness and get customers from it. So that's part of the reason why it ends up being the perfect experiment. So you're not running the ads to make money, which is what I would normally suggest you do. Don't run ads unless you're ready to make money. But in more than anything, I always say don't do anything without knowing what it is you want to get out of it. So don't run ads unless you know what your result is. What are you looking for? What do you think is going to happen? Don't waste your money. So if you have, some time and energy and you want to put it, time, energy, and a really small budget. When I say a small budget, I mean like literally like $10 a week or, $20 a week, something really small just to get some information from it. You won't get a ton of data. Maybe you may, depending on your keywords that you're using, that $20 might go a really long way. And so you might want to look and see like what you can learn with a really small budget using Google Ads and do it specifically to get the data. Do it as essentially like a market research thing. What kind of keywords are people responding to? What type of text do people respond to? Use it as a test. You do not have to come at this with, the idea of everything has to be written in stone and you have to know exactly what you're doing when you first get started. I do not encourage you to go out there with $250 a week budgets when A, if you don't have that kind of money, and B, if you don't know what your outcome is supposed to be when you get started, because that can be a massive waste of money. Again, if you know that you want to do market research and you want to spend $250 on it, that's great. So I'm not saying that, your budget has to be $20. If you want to go all in, gather a bunch of information, you can use a larger budget. And no, I'm also not suggesting that $200 is a large budget. It's actually a pretty small budget, but you don't have to spend $2,500 or $25,000. You can spend $25 or $250. You can actually spend on that lower end for advertising with Google and actually get a lot of great information. And you may, in the process, if you happen to stumble upon a few ads that work really well for your audience, you might also get the benefit of having the ads work to get you customers and work to actually grow your brand awareness, which is, of course, I would call that the secondary benefit of doing this type of ad that I'm talking about. But I personally think that, especially if you're new or if you've been running your business with a lot of gut, like you've been running it on gut instinct, you've been running it on gut interactions, you've been running it on anecdotes from one or two or three customers. All of those things are good, but data is better. And so the more you know, like you can pair the data with the anecdotes. Maybe the data actually does support what you think you know about your customer. And that would be fantastic. But if it doesn't, if the data tells you something else, then that also gives you leverage to do new things and to do different things than what you were doing before. So I just want to encourage you to let the data give you information, let it speak to you, give it the opportunity to by doing something like advertising. And of course, on the free level, you can do Google Search Console or Google Analytics. Both of those are completely free and they give you the same type of information. You just have to have your website set up. You have to have them on your website. And, you should probably know how to read that information. Same thing with Google Ads, but it's a little bit simpler. The data is a little bit easier to read inside of Google Ads than it can be in Google Analytics because there's fewer like menu items and things that you can roam through. So that's the basic idea for today is get to know your customer. In all reality, I'm suggesting ads so that you can actually learn something quickly. You can get some information, you can get some data. But more than anything, in order for us to be successful with our businesses, we really need to get to know our customers. We really need to understand them and understand what makes them tick and understand what kind of customer experience they're looking for, understand as much as possible how to serve them with what we offer as best as possible. And then for marketing's sake, how to phrase the things, how to, do signage, how to, do our social media messages. All of those things can come from getting that information, getting that data where you learn more about your customer and you're better able to serve them with information that is going to hit them in their feels, not in yours, because of course, it doesn't matter what you feel. It only matters what they feel. So we need to make sure that we're getting data so that we are supporting ourselves with information and making the best choices possible with our small businesses. Okay, that's it for today. Keeping it quick, keeping it short. If you're like, okay, Lindsay, but I don't know how to run Google Ads, I have a workshop coming up on Tuesday evening, Tuesday the 13th. Yes, that's tomorrow. Tuesday, you can hang out with me, 7 p.m. It's a score workshop. I'll drop the link into the comments. And yeah, I would love to see you there. It's completely free. Come if you want to. I also recently my company has been putting together worksheets that you can get that are follow along guides that work really well with the workshops. So if you want to come, you'll have something to take with you because I know you know that we don't usually let you record these and all that. So if you want that information, go ahead, come to the score workshop, get that from us. I would love to see you there. Okay. See you later. Bye.